Hey everybody, hello. Welcome to the first, but certainly not the last, Get Frumpy Happy Half Hour with everybody's favorite frumpy broad, brilliant writer, and beloved columnist, Marla Jo Fisher. I'm Sam Dunn, a senior editor of the Southern California News Group and a proud friend of Marla's. The session will be videotaped and a link will be sent to you and posted both on the SCNG YouTube channel and also on our website, so please check there. This series is sponsored by Cingery Financial with Cindy Kumujin, and right now we'll hear from her.
Good evening, bookish members of Marla Jo Fisher. I'm Cindy Kumujin, the author of the upcoming book, Redefining Financial Literacy, Unlocking the Hidden Forces of Your Financial Future. My aim in writing this book is to promote awareness on the history of finance and the economic forces that have shaped and defined our financial world. If you're a history buff or a nonfiction fan, you'll appreciate this. In the book, I go back 150 years to the Gilded Age and compare it to our current economic system. There's an uncanny and striking parallel between the Gilded Age of the past and today, called the Gilded Age 2.0. I hope to help you empower yourself with financial literacy and educate yourself on investment strategies to enhance the modern day portfolio. If you have any questions, I'm Cindy Kumujin at Cingery Financial in Tustin. That's Cingery spelled with a C, just like Cindy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Cindy. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the woman who doesn't need any introduction, the reason for the season, the deals diva, the frumpy middle-aged mom, the extravagantly wonderful Marla Jo Fisher. Woo! Cheers, Marla. Hey, cheers, pal.
Hi. Cheers. So you may note, cheers. If you have an adult beverage, raise it, even though I can't see you because you're muted. You may notice that Samantha doesn't drink, so she's having a Perrier. I, on the other hand, need the full juice. I need the full stuff to be happy. But before we start, I just wanted to say hello from Lil Wayne. Those of you who read my column may remember Lil Wayne. And here he is, and he's cute. And the reason I'm saying that is because I took this class on how to do Zoom meetings, and they said if you have a dog, you should mention it to people in advance in case he barks. So if the mailman comes through the door, Lil Wayne wants to eat him. Oh, let's see what Sam's got. Sam's got a cat.
Old cat Cammy. Say hi, Cammy.
Hi, Cammy. So luckily, Lil Wayne likes cats. But Lil Wayne also wants to eat the mailman. So if he starts barking, it's because he's trying to eat the mailman. But anyway, he's got to go away. Go away. Goodbye. Hi.
Did you just throw him on the floor, for God's sake? What did you do?
Yeah. He's a very agile little dog. All right. So this is exciting, and I'm trying to center myself in front of the camera. So welcome to my first happy hour. And I hope that we have a lot of them because I think it's a super fun idea. And, you know, usually I actually often have a happy hours on Friday, except for what the heck, right? Now we're all stuck inside, so nobody's doing happy hour. And, you know, even if we did go outside for happy hour, it's freaking 12 degrees out there. So enjoy. Oh my God, did you see? Holy cow, I just saw a picture of snow in Manhattan Beach.
What?
I'm not making that up. Snow/hail. The lifeguards posted a picture of snow/hail on the ground in Manhattan Beach. I have lived in California since 1981, and I've never seen any such thing. That's just a little side announcement. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but it just blew my mind. So anyway, but yeah, right?
Incredible, man.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, they were making a big deal about snow in Malibu the other day. Did you see that?
No, there was snow in Malibu?
Yeah, it was snow. But actually, in my previous fabulous life, I lived in Malibu. And there was actually one year where there was a little bit of sleety, snowy thing. But this is unheard of. Anyway. Okay.
Oh, by the way, Sam did have a famous life. She was like friends with famous celebrities, and she had a very glamorous life in the past. And then we both became journalists, and now we have no more glamorous lives, you know.
Now we can
Right.
talk to each other. Listen, okay, so people, there are a lot of questions, lots of questions already. But one of the big ones is a question of how you even started the frumpy middle-aged mom thing. I mean, can you tell us? Start from
Yes,
the
I will. And by the way, this is also in my book, which you see the cover of the book. I'm plugging it like a huge amount right here because the second printing is available now. But so what happened was I was a hard news reporter for 35 years, and
what does that mean?
I loved it.
Wait, back up, and what does hard news mean?
It means you cover stuff that people want to know, like how many people died in that accident, in that big car wreck, and how do you get a coronavirus shot, and all of the above. I've been a police reporter. I've had, cops yell at me. I've ridden on elephants. I've ridden in fire trucks. I've had a woman scream at me that I was a vulture when I went out to cover the murder of her fiance, which actually really deeply affected me until I found out that she was actually the murderer. Ha ha ha. And then I didn't feel bad about it anymore.
I've heard that story. Okay, anyway, so
right?
you're a hard news reporter.
So anyway, so I was a hard news reporter for many years, and I really loved it, and I got high on stress, and it was a fabulous job in every way. I mean, especially for someone who is easily bored, because you never, life is endlessly entertaining. But then I woke up, but I worked from early morning until late at night every single day. It was my entire life. My friends were all my fellow journalists. And I woke up one day when I was 43 years old, and I realized that I forgot to get married and I forgot to have kids. And that's always something that I wanted to do. And it was quite upsetting to me because I didn't really know what to do about it, but that was okay. Nobody wanted to marry me because I was too crabby, but that was all right because I always intended to adopt foster children, adopt siblings, and keep them together, because my mother was an orphan in Hardscrabble, Texas, and she was raised, and literally from the meaning of the expression farmed out, she was farmed out to families to get to the work that could be gotten out of her.
Wow,
right?
like indentured servant, essentially. I mean,
yeah, I mean, like Anne of Green Gables, but not with a happy ending. I mean, she was sent out to farms where she would pick cotton. She would help around the house. She had one pair of shoes that she would put on to go to school, and then when she got home, she would have to take off her shoes and go to work. But anyway, because of that, and she lost touch with all her siblings, and because of that, I always wanted to adopt siblings and keep them together, because my mom couldn't, right? So I filled out the copious applications that you have to fill out to become an adoptive mom, and started that process. And because I was very unlucky, it lasted for 3 years. Now, normally, it only lasts like a year. At the end of the year, it's like being pregnant. At the end of the year, you get a kid out of it, right? But because of bad luck, it lasted me like 3 years. So I was actually 46 years old when 2 little kids came to live in my house. And let me add that I had no experience with children of any kind. I mean, I didn't take care of nieces and nephews. I never really liked babysitting. I mean, I knew nothing about taking care of children, right? And I almost killed them a few times when they were young, right? And the thing that was terrifying about it was a curly girl. My daughter Sandy, I asked her to come out here, but she won't because her hair is messy.
Well, wait, we've got people here who are admitting that they did not put their bra on. There are 2 no bras, I think I've seen here in the chat. So Sandy, come on. I mean, curly girl, get over here.
Okay, so I call her curly girl in my column to provide a little privacy, but since it's just intimate friends here, I don't mind telling you that her name is Sandy. And her brother's
100 of your intimate friends here, but go ahead.
Right.
Yes.
And her brother's name is Michael, and I call him Cheetah Boy, and people are always asking me why. And the reason is that Sandy has beautiful, naturally curly hair. When she was a little girl, it was blonde, and it looked like Cinderella's hair, just like these beautiful waves. And you remember, Sam. Yeah. And then it turned darker, and now she dyes it so many colors and straightens it so nobody knows from one day to the next what it's going to look like. But I still call her Curly Girl. Michael runs really fast. He loves to run, and he loves cheetahs. So, of course, I called him Cheetah Boy. And I even took him to Africa to see cheetahs. And so that's how they got their names. So the happiest day of my life was the day they showed up on my porch. I sat on my porch first thing in the morning waiting for them, hoping that they would actually show up. They showed up with their social worker with little bags of little trash bags full of their meager belongings from their former foster home. And they moved into my house and they never left. And, you know, it was the happiest day. Well, the second happiest day of my life. The happiest day of my life was 6 months later when I adopted them, when I legally adopted them.
Didn't you almost get one of them killed shortly thereafter? What was the story?
Oh my God.
Tell me that. I love this one.
Okay. This is what I have to explain. Okay, the social workers, when the kids move into your house, they still have social workers looking over you to make sure you're not going to abuse the children or, you know, mistreat the children.
Somebody is Patricia's asking how old were the kids? Oh no, Mary's asking how old were the kids?
Okay, so Curly Girl was 3 years old, and Michael was 5 years old. Cheetah Boy was 5 years old, and again, I knew nothing about these children, of raising children of this age, right? So the day they moved in, they arrived at my house in the morning. I was ecstatically happy, and the first thing I did was we drove to a unnamed big box retailer, and we got them new sheets and comforters and everything for their new rooms, right? Which they'd never had new things in their whole life, so that was quite thrilling to them. And then they needed new shoes, so I drove them to the store to get them new shoes, and we parked on the street. Now we get out of the car, and Curly Girl was sitting in the back, and so I let her out of her car seat, and she gets out of the car, and now, not knowing any better, I just tell her to go stand on the sidewalk, right? Because what did I know about 3-year-olds, right? And I turn around to close my car door and lock it, and instead of do you hear Lil Wayne? Shut up! Anyway, so instead of going to stand on the sidewalk, she runs directly into the street, like, you know, and this big, you know, Ford F-150 pickup truck is just barreling down on her. And I'm just like, ah! So I go running, right? And I get up there just as the truck comes to like 1 inch from her, and she's just standing there going like, oh, right? And you know, the guy just starts screaming at me out the window about how stupid I am and who could be that stupid to let their kid go in the middle of the street like that, right? Well, that would be me, right? And the thing is that I just didn't know any better. And when I got up on the sidewalk, I just started shaking so uncontrollably, I couldn't even walk, because I thought, I can't even keep them alive for an entire day. You know, I mean, what's going to happen? Because when you adopt kids like that, the social workers are all over you like a cheap suit. I mean, they're watching you to make sure that, you know, you don't kill them, right? Or beat them or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So all I could think of was like, oh no, they're going to take them away from me. And also, their birth mom was still in the picture at that time, because they were only my foster children. I had not legally adopted them yet. So she still had the rights of a mother, right? And she was watching me like a hawk too, because anything that happened, she complained to the social workers about, right? Yeah. So it was quite terrifying. In fact, it got to the point where I put her on a leash. You know, those child halter things, right? Yeah. Because shortly after that, I took them to the mall to see Santa for the first time. Santa had never come to their house before, right? So I take them to the mall to get Santa pictures like every other family does. And we walk into the mall. Well, they had never been in a big mall like that, at least not at Christmas. And they were so overexcited that one ran one way and the other ran the other way. And I'm old and fat. I can't run anywhere, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm going to lose these children in this massive mall, and they're for sure going to take them away from me for that, right? So somehow I got them back together, and then after that, I'm like, she's going on a leash. So she went on a leash after that every time we went somewhere. And here's the irony, okay? She loved being on a leash. She loved it because she would gallop me like a horse, right? And I'd have to run behind her galloping. And to the point that her brother wanted to be on a leash too. So I'd be galloping both of them on a leash, but I put my foot down on that one. And I'm like, no, only one kid on a leash at a time. So, yeah.
We're getting a lot of questions about them being brother and sister, right? They're biological brother and sister.
Okay, so they are biological brother and sister. They have the same birth mother.
Right.
She was on the meth and she couldn't take care of them because she kept getting them back. She's not a bad person. She never abused them, you know? Yeah. But she just couldn't take care of them because she kept going back to the meth. So what would happen is she would lose them and then she would get them back. And then she would lose them and then she would get them back. And finally the court said, no, we're done with this. You know, these kids have to have a stable home. Right. So they had different fathers.
Right.
Cheetah Boy's father is in prison. And Curly Girl's father was fatally shot by the police several years ago. But they do have the connection of having the same mom, and they've always been together. So they're very bonded, you know.
And contact with their biological mom too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that on the day that the children were awarded to me permanently, okay, by the judge, because you have to go to court and the judge has to award them to you, right?
Right.
Because what happened is the county gave them to me, but then the mom appeals, because she always does, you know, usually, right? She usually wants the kids back. And in this case, she really wanted them back because she really loves them, you know, but she just couldn't take care of them because her mother died of drugs. She never had a mother and she just didn't know how to be a mom, right? Yeah. And so the day that the judge awarded them to me, the day that the judge terminated her rights, which opened up the door for me to adopt them because I was the county's adoptive choice. That was a difficult day. You know, I'm calling up my friends. It was up in the Antelope Valley. And I'm calling up my friends and telling them, and they're like, congratulations. And I'm like, you know, I can't be happy because she's so sad. You know, she was just sitting there sobbing all alone because her family at that point was so fed up with her. They were so done with her, you know, because of her drug use, that they hadn't even come to the courthouse with her. And so afterwards she came out and she came to me. I'd never spoken to her before, right? But she came up to me and she said, you're going to let me see my kids, aren't you? And I said, yeah, okay. And what I meant was a goodbye visit, because they always give them a goodbye visit, right? But what she meant was an ongoing visitation, right? So there's a misunderstanding about that. But as a result of that, she didn't appeal a termination, which is very unusual, which enabled me to adopt the children right away, right? Okay. And then she's like, well, when can I see the kids? And it turned out that Curly Girl, who was 3, really wanted to see her and really missed her. And her brother did not. He didn't want to see her. He's never really wanted to see her. And so I did take them for a goodbye visit. And Curly Girl has had an ongoing relationship with her ever since, which consists of seeing her a couple times a year, you know, and I wouldn't give her our phone number or anything for a really long time. And of course, once my daughter got her own phone, she could do what she likes, right? Sure. And at first I was very concerned that I wasn't going to be the real mom. Right, you know, that she would continue to consider her birth mother as the real mom, but that actually really didn't happen. It really wasn't an issue, you know. I was the mom that was cleaning up after her and getting her sippy cup, and I was the real mom. But you know, the thing is, when you adopt, you can't ever pretend like there isn't another mother. You know, there's always another mother, even if she's dead. Yes. You know. Yes. Anyway, that's gloomy, and we're not being gloomy. But
but what happened? When did you decide? When did you more wine? Is it Glynis says more wine helps? Yes, Glynis, exactly.
More wine, yes.
More wine.
Okay.
So when did you decide to start writing about them? Like what?
Okay.
Move.
I started writing for my own amusement, and what happened was that being 46 years old, of course, I was already the age where my college roommates were having grandchildren, right? Not even children, grandchildren. And as I made clear, I had no idea what I was doing. So, I'm sure many of you remember that what it's like when everyone's telling you how to be a better mother, right? It's like how to be a better mother, how to be a better wife, how to be a better employee, how to be a better person, right? Like, lose that weight and stop dressing like people at Walmart, and stop feeding your kids spinach. No, feed them spinach. No, stop feeding them spinach. It's just, it becomes overwhelming. I mean, from every single source, from magazines and newspapers and TV, and you're just bombarded everywhere you look at people telling you how to be better, right? Well,
Amen.
I couldn't take it. I was having a nervous breakdown, because I already felt so inadequate to keep these little human beings alive that I just couldn't handle the pressure of actually having to keep them alive well. So I saw Roseanne Barr. Remember when she had a last name? Well, I saw Roseanne Barr do a stand-up, and she said, if I keep the kids alive until 5 p.m., I've done my job. And that became my mantra. If they're alive at 5 o'clock, I did okay, right? So I decided, I started writing this column for myself, Frumpy, because I'm poorly dressed, right? Middle-aged, because I was, now I'm old.
Lately, you've gotten a lot more sass in your groove here. I don't know what it is, but
I'm definitely cooler. I'm definitely more cool looking than I was.
Anyway,
That's
go
for
ahead.
sure, yeah.
So anyway, you're Frumpy. Okay.
Anyway, I was middle-aged. Now I'm kind of old, but we'll pretend like I'm middle-aged. And I'm just like, I'm just going to write about what it's like to be a frumpy middle-aged mom, right? So I just started doing it at first for my own amusement. And then my boss said, hey, we're starting this mom blog at the Orange County Register. Would you like to write for it for free? And I'm like, sure, more writing for free? Gee, what could be better than that, right?
Line me up.
So I started writing the column for free. And it was a really fun column. I mean, there was a lot of people, not just me, writing for it. We even had dads writing for it, and it was great. But the problem was that, as some of you know, there's so many mom blogs out there, and some of them are just hilarious, right? Like if you never read People I Want to Punch in the Throat, you need to read that, And
Rage Against the Minivan, that's a good one too.
Oh, Rage Against the Minivan is a very good one. Yes, she's from Orange County.
Yep.
And anyway, there was just so much competition for mom blogs that it didn't really survive. So when the mom blog went under, I was already appearing in the print newspaper because they were taking some of the best mom columns and putting them in the print newspaper. And so my boss said, this is how unattractive and messy my house is, that there's a moth flying around. Anyway, So my boss said, hey, would you like to be a columnist? And I'm like, oh, let's see, to go from, chasing ambulances late at night and having people scream at me and call me a vulture to writing only what I want, I mean, I don't know. That's a really hard decision. I'll have to think about that one and let you know the next day. I'm just kidding. Of course I said yes. So I started actually writing Frumpy Middle-Aged Mom at the time for the Orange County Register. This was 12 years ago. And I was also writing a column called The Deals Diva about deals and bargains, because I'm the cheapest person anybody ever met. And I also started writing about...
I just want to attest to the fact that you are, in fact, so incredibly cheap. I don't think we've ever gone anywhere where you haven't had a coupon. That's the definition.
I love my coupons. Okay, see this wine right here? This wine, grocery outlet, $3.99 a bottle. Got to do it, right? Go to your grocery outlet. They have great wine. And this is called Barrel Axe, right? Anyway, so anyway, I started writing Frumpy Middle-Aged Mom, and I was also writing a column called Cheapo Travel. And the Frumpy Middle-Aged Mom thing just took off. And then it ended up the Register ended up selling it in syndication, so it was running in papers around the country. And the reason for that is because my shtick was, you don't have to be perfect. Look, here's how bad I suck. Here's all the things I did this week that almost killed my children or were really bad. Here's all the times I yelled at them. Here's all the times I did all the things, the bad things that you're not supposed to do. And look, it's the end of the week and they're still alive. And so people are really related to this because everyone feels so guilty about being inadequate and, not doing a good enough job at being a mom and scarring their children for life, right? And here I am. My children are now 21 and 23. They're still alive. They're productive, living human beings. And it was okay. It was okay, even though I sucked, And there are things I would do differently. Yes, I would not feed them macaroni and cheese every day. But did they live through it? Yes, they did.
That's the bad thing? Like, you're not supposed, that's a bad thing?
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, mac and cheese is not good for children. I mean, it's not good for anybody. But
all right.
You know what I mean? When you get home from a long day at work and the kids are hungry, you open a box and you dump it in the pot.
I absolutely know.
But,
hey, you've got 5 billion questions here. Let's go to the 5 billion questions.
No, I will just. Sam is going to remind you guys that we're going to continue to do this. It's really not long enough because, of course, I can't stop talking. So, but we're going to do it again in February and March. Yeah. So I hope you're having a good time and I hope you come back. And I'm sorry that you had to be muted, but if I heard anybody open candy bars, I would be unable to think or speak. So
she would lose her mind. Okay, but we have a few burning questions. I can probably answer this, but I want, but who cares what I think? They want to hear you. Connie Williams wants to know, do your friends call you MJ or Marla?
My friends call me Marla. My work friends call me Marla Jo. The only person who calls me MJ is the occasional person, telemarketer, who I have signed up for something using MJ. Now I do have a prisoner who writes to me regularly, and he calls me Marla Jo because he feels that I should be like J-Lo and I should have my own special name.
Oh my God, I love this so much. You are Marla Jo.
And he says I have a big following in prison. Who knew, right?
No, hey, he might. Who knows? Okay, other questions. We have a question from Connie who wants to know, have you always been writing stories? Did you keep a diary when you were a young girl?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Some of you might have seen my column that ran maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago about my diary incident. I did keep a diary when I was a girl, but it was a fictitious diary. It was a diary about all the things that I wanted to do, but I didn't have the nerve to do. So I wrote a fictitious diary pretending like I had done all these wicked things, right? Like, smoking marijuana, shocking, right? And, like doing things with boys and all this stuff. Now, I was way too cowardly to ever do any of these things, but I thought if I wrote about them, maybe I could get some practice in and then I could actually do them at some point in the future because I was such a geeky, nerdy little girl, right? I was one of those kids that nobody talked to very much. But what happened was that my mom found my diary and she thought it was real. And we had a huge fight over it. And I kept telling her I knew it wasn't real because none of that ever really happened. So I knew she was my diary, right? And she kept denying it. And I ended up being punished for a year for something I didn't even do. So, yeah.
And yes. And therefore it taught you the dangers of fake news, Marla. Fake news.
Well, it taught me the dangers of being a writer. It taught me that there's no upside to being a writer in any way. But
which segues into the next question, and we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon. But Mary Bright wants to know, what is your favorite aspect of writing your column?
Oh, wow. It's you guys. It's you guys because sharing with my readers is the most enjoyable part of what I do. I mean, I do love the act of writing. You know, a lot of writers like having written, you know, they like having written in the past tense. I actually enjoy the act of writing. And if I make myself laugh while I'm writing, I know it's good. But I enjoy interacting with readers and hearing from readers. And you should go on my Frumpy Middle-Aged Mom Facebook page because we talk about this stuff all the time. I feel like I have a million friends that otherwise I wouldn't have. And I have revealed things, I'm not kidding, and I revealed things in my column that I never told a living soul. And the act of unburdening myself about it, like the diary, the act of unburdening myself about it is so freeing. I can't really describe it to you.
I think that's fabulous. And we're at the end. It went by so fast. We're at the end. But the good news is we're going to do this again next month. We're going to do this again on February 26th and again on March 19th. And if you really, really want to keep going, we can talk about that later. But don't forget, where's your book, Marla? Show your book again.
Okay, second printing. Woo, wait.
You can get Marla's in print. And please, yay! Please know that we've got other book events coming up. Check the scng.com/virtual events. Thanks again to our sponsor, Synergy Financial, and we will see you again next month. Cheers, babe.
Bye, all. Cheers.
Cheers.
Enjoy your weekend. Woo!